Two, back at you again with another one. And if you look at the title, it says the faces of self-hatred. Because I had to do another one of these videos based on what happened to Tyre Nichols and how his beating was worse than Rodney King. His beating was worse than Floyd. His beat was worse than Malice Green in Detroit. And you want to know why this keep happening? You know, it's because somebody taught black people to hate themselves. And as I said earlier, you can look at the conversations in social media and Facebook. Black people use their technology. They don't do nothing but diss each other. You know what I mean? And it's deep and it's systemic because we don't realize that the origin of all this is slavery. We still got the slave mentality. And them brothers that joined that police force, they joined that police force because they wanted to be an extension of white supremacy. They wanted to be on there and riding around through there, dogging their own people out. Them lames is the guys I told you before earlier. The guys that couldn't get a girlfriend in school, the guys that felt like they was being marginalized or whatever. But as you come into this room, like and share the video. I want to play something from you from Malcolm X. That Malcolm X said a long time ago. Hold on. Listen to Malcolm X. And this is Malcolm X. This is over almost 60 years ago.
Who taught you, please? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself who taught you to hate being what God gave you. The texture of your head.
Now I'm gonna stop it right there because Malcolm X is presenting the issue. Who taught black people to hate each other to this degree? When you watch that video, you can see the hatred and how they was talking to that brother, how they kicked him, how they maced him, that they had a hatred for him. Did they even know it? To hate him, to be that mostly emotionally involved with arresting him? And they say suspicion of reckless driving. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Suspicion of reckless driving? We cannot let this go by. Black people, we have to deal with and face these issues. We got to face the fact that most of us are acting out white supremacy in our own black bodies and our own black minds. There was no cause for any of that. Now these 5 cops then disgrace their parents, disgrace their families, disgrace the friends that they had. And like I said earlier in my broadcast, what makes a black man want to be a police officer who wants to be an extension of white supremacy? All that we want to help the community, that's a lie. Because you never see them stand up in defense of black people when they're being dogged by other cops. I'm gonna ask y'all out there that got cops in your family, look at his real character. and see what kind of brother he really is. Out of all the jobs in the world he could have picked, he go pick a job to be a cop and patrol his own people and brutalize his own people. And I know some of y'all out there saying, "Oh, some good cops out there." Name one. Name one anytime you've seen a cop, a black cop, come out against police brutality. When have you seen a black cop do that? Come out against police brutality for real, and make a stand with it. I bet it's very few, because these brothers that choose to be cops, they got a problem. You don't even pay enough to make you go out there and risk your life and to be an arm of white supremacy oppressing your people. And that's what you've seen. And I know you can say, well, you can't say nothing because it happens too much. You know what I mean? Where's Black Lives Matter? Where's your pastors at? What they got to say? You know, you want to talk about protecting black women? That was some black woman's son. And it's ironic that when them brothers die, they call out for their mamas. They call out for their mamas. They don't call out to God. Because in this society and through Christianity, they've convinced black people that the closest thing to them that is of God is their mother. As if they beating you up, your mama could come help and get them up off you. Why you don't call on God? Why when they die, they ain't never screaming God, calling on God? It's because of the orientation of their mind in this white supremacist country, that they're not going to call on God. They're not going to call on no man. They're not going to call on anything that can save them. They're calling on somebody who they think can be a mediator and plead for mercy in their behalf. All this is so psychological. And I know this whole thing is traumatizing to black people. And we're going to have to continue to keep being traumatized until we realize that this beefing that we have within our community has to stop. You look at the so-called leaders like Umar Johnson and how he's beefing with Tariq Nasheed and how they beefing with the Fly Nubian. I mean, you can't even have unity in the so-called woke conscious community. You know, I looked at something from Boyce Watkins today. Boyce Watkins, he likes to call other black men Ray Ray and Pookies because he went to the school and got a degree that he can't do nothing with but con people. So he calls other black men Pookies and Ray Rays as if they some type of second-class citizen, while he sit there and give people bad advice and say, "Oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor." Him and Dr. Umar. You know what I mean? Dr. Seuss and Dr. Jekyll. Black women, I understand y'all say that y'all not protected or respected. But the reason that you're not is because the black man is not protected or respected. And he is the only one who would intercede in your behalf. We got to get on code. We got to get on code. You know what I mean? It's every man for himself until tragedy hit. Then when tragedy hit, then people want to chime in, "Oh, pray for me," and woody woo and all of that. But as long as things is going good in your life, you're not concerned with what's happening in other black people's lives. This mother was expecting her son to come home, worked at FedEx, had a girlfriend, had a child, no criminal history, no drug abuse, none of that. He didn't even understand. If you really pay attention to the video, he didn't even understand what was going on. He grew up in California and moved to Memphis. And then they got the police chief in Memphis talking about she don't understand what went wrong. She's the chief of police. She knew she had a unit called the Scorpion Unit. They named the unit Scorpion Unit. They didn't name them Protectors of the People or Protectors of the Community. they named them the Scorpion Unit. And when you see what they did, you know this was not their first time doing this. You know what I'm saying? And us as black men, if you're gonna die, don't die calling out for your mama because she can't help you. You know, they tell you that if you ever been in trouble, you go to jail or any little problem, your mama cannot help you. If you're not calling on God, you better drum up some strength and call on somebody with some force that's coming to deal with the issue. Because that was serious. And him calling on his mother, I know it pulls on everybody's heartstrings. But psychologically, what makes them call on their mama? Think about that. Grown man being slaughtered, about to be killed. And he calls on his mama. He doesn't fight back. He doesn't get violent. He doesn't fight to live. He calls on his mama. And then his mother comes out there and she says she wants peace. You remember the other brother that was killed by the police officer and his mama forgave the lady and hugged the lady and prayed for the lady that killed her son? What kind of mama is that? White lady comes in the apartment, kills your son, you pray for her and hug her. Police kill your son, you tell everybody you want peace. This slave master has tricked you into a docile, tame sheep waiting for the slaughter. Because you're always trying to find a way to make peace with your enemy, and your enemy clearly doesn't want peace. He wants you dead, he wants you out of here, he wants you removed. You know, a lot of y'all go to church, and y'all going to church tomorrow. And listen to what your pastor say. Your pastor gonna tell you every which way to be peaceful. But Moses wasn't peaceful in the Bible. Joseph wasn't peaceful. Joshua wasn't peaceful. David definitely wasn't peaceful. Solomon wasn't peaceful. Jesus wasn't even peaceful. He went up in the church and beat them on their back. But everybody wants the black man in America to be peaceful. Everybody wants him to wait on reparations, to wait on freedom, to wait on somebody to treat him nice, to wait on somebody to forgive him. Brothers, keep it real. You ain't got no friends out here. Ain't no love out here for you. You gonna die calling for your mama? That's what you want to do? When you look at them faces of them brothers, what you see is the faces of self-hatred, self-loathing, in the envy and jealousy. You see all the negative things that plague the black community played out. Watch it. I know it's traumatizing, but watch it. And y'all said, y'all made all them New Year's resolutions about 2023. You didn't learn from 2022. You didn't learn from 2021. You haven't learned anything since the Emancipation Proclamation. Since slavery was so-called ended, you have not learned anything as it relates to being a people who are within enemy lines, who are in hostile territory. They let a few of y'all idols and celebrities get rich so they can keep you tame, so they can keep you thinking that there's some pot of gold at the end of this fictional rainbow called a melting pot and American iconism, or whatever you want to call this. But you're going to keep seeing yourselves being brutalized. You're going to keep seeing it. You're going to keep seeing it. You're going to keep seeing them take more and more of your rights because you refuse to unite. You refuse to stand together. Even in the conscious community, Nation of Islam can't come to agreement with the Moorish Science Temple. Moorish Science Temple can't come together with the Sunni Muslim. I seen a Sunni Muslim sister in the grocery store. I said assalamu alaikum to her. She put her nose up in the air like as if she didn't know the greeting, because they use their religion also to make themselves feel better than you. I'm conscious. I know about the pyramids. I know about the stars, the moon, and the solar system. I don't eat pork. Really? You don't eat pork because you think like a pig. A pig is selfish. You think about how selfish you can be. And then you think because you drop a few words of wisdom or a few jewels that we pay for in the collection plate and buying your books and your tapes. So you could tell us fairy tales, pat us on the back and tell us it's going to be all right. Defund the church, defund the mosque, defund the temple, defund it all because it ain't working for you. You keep doing something that's not working for you, or you keep doing the same thing expecting a different response. That's the very definition of insanity. And religion has made Black people insane to think that you can sin all week, then go to church and it's forgiven. You can hate your neighbor, cheat on your husband, beat your kids and abuse your kids. You can do all these things and go spend 45 minutes in church and you absolved of these things. If that's not insane, is that not ridiculous? Now you got Easter coming up. Everybody getting ready for Easter. You know, Easter is based on the premises that Jesus was crucified and rose on the third day. That's what it's all about. He was crucified and rose Sunday morning. Okay, now guess what? We so insane we don't even do math. I got off work yesterday evening, which is Friday. Based on the theory of Easter, guess what? I got to go to work tomorrow, and that's my 2 days. That I get off work Friday night and I go back to work Saturday morning. That's the same thing as Jesus being crucified Friday evening in the rising Sunday morning. Let's do the math. Saturday and Sunday morning. That's not even 2 days. But you will say on the third day he rised. And you will argue with anybody and say they blaspheme as if you cannot count. Your insanity won't even let you count that from Friday evening to Sunday morning is not even 2 days. But you will hold on to that before you hold on to the fact that you being persecuted and dominated by an enemy who taught you to hate yourself. People, y'all got to wake up before it be too late. Y'all all confused. And as I said in my other video, anything God tell you to do, you don't do. This world is mad that the Black man is still here. Even though he's down, everybody wants to kick him. That's why they kicked that brother. That's why they kicked that brother. Because when he's down, that's what your enemy do. I've had an enemy when I was down kick me. I still ain't over it to this day. Because that speaks volumes when somebody kicks you when you're down. That's a level of hatred, hostility, and anger. And you want to ask yourself, where does it come from? Where does this self-hatred and hatred of people that look like you come from? You look at the ridiculousness of these timelines and what you do with social media. Who cares what you eat? Who cares about these things that you got to make public so that you can feel good about yourself? That you got to post every day what you're doing. No information, no pertinent information, just what you're doing. When y'all go to church tomorrow, I want you to listen to your weak pastor as he gives you an excuse for why it's okay to see your children murdered on a daily. Why it's okay to see your community plagued with drugs. And then everybody want to tell you, take accountability. Why don't the people that created the situation that you have to survive in take accountability for that? You want to absolve them of all responsibility. Like a true slave, love your master. In quoting Malcolm, you want to say, are we sick, boss? Are we sick, boss? You look at them faces on them black brothers. Guess what? They scared to death now. They know they're going to prison. They know they have disgraced their families. They know that their mama is looked at sideways because you raised them type of people. You want to say don't blame the mammy? You got to blame the mammy and the pappy that'll let them outside the house. You know what they was taught and how they was raised. Just like when you see a child or a young person with no manners, you know their mom and daddy ain't had no manners. You know it. You see a promiscuous woman, 9 out of 10, her mama was promiscuous. You see a womanizing man, 9 times out of 10, his daddy was the same way. You see an angry, hostile man, 9 times out of 10, his daddy was the same way. We are producing the very things we say we abhor and we hate. That's what we can take responsibility for. We can knock it off with the denial and get a real sense of urgency because this is only January and 2023 is coming in with a bang. And I'm telling you, wait till this summer. No, you ain't got to wait till this summer. Wait till Monday. Wait till tomorrow. Wait till your car stop somewhere. Wait till somebody come in that grocery store. Nobody is safe in this country, and we will never be safe in this country until we take responsibility for protecting ourselves. And the divestors, protect yourself. Don't nobody care if you divesting or if you don't like black men, go get you a China man if he wants you. Go get you a Mexican man. Stop talking about black men. Go get you something else. And the same thing with you brothers that don't like sisters. Stop talking about the sisters. Go get you something else. Nobody's caring except they family. Ain't nobody gonna care if you go get you a Becky. Ain't nobody caring if you want to go get you a Chad. But all that running your mouth consistently, it's gonna bring the curses on you. It's gonna bring the curse of God on you for hating your own, for being a self-hater, a self-loather. You got daddy issues, and some of you got mama issues. Go get therapy. Keep it to yourself. Work on those problems. Work on those issues. Everybody know mental health is rampant in the black community. How could it not be? When you genetically traumatized for 400 years of slavery and another 100 years of oppression and Jim Crow and marginalization. Of course, there's mental illness. We all mentally ill. We all suffer from post-traumatic stress. You don't think that us watching this video of this brother being killed by them other 5 brothers was traumatizing psychologically? We just watched George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. It just keep consistently going on. Last summer, 9 older elderly black women killed in a grocery store. They downplayed that the Nigerian not too long ago started shooting and killing black people. They're not even reporting it. If we don't report, you don't even know what's going on. Listen, like, share, and subscribe. We have to change the algorithm. We have to change this narrative. And we're not going to do it by sitting idly on the sidelines. You know what I mean? And I know that a lot of people just don't care. That's why your children don't care. You look at your children out there, they don't care whether they live or die. You didn't teach them to. You didn't teach them that. They was accessories. Accessories, like a purse or something like that. Because why would a mother come out and say, after she seen her son brutally killed, come out and say, I want everybody to be peaceful? That's insane. You just watched your son be tortured and deleted. And you come out in behalf of the establishment and say you want peace. It's insane. The level of insanity is about to hit ground zero. For sure. You got to respect these young people because they're going out a whole other type of way. But you cannot allow this to be swept under the rug and to go away because it keeps popping up. It keeps popping up. And I want you, if you got black police officers in your family, ask them, what do they think about police brutality? Why would you join an organization that has been brutalizing your people since its very inception? The police comes from paddy rollers, which was slave patrols. Why would you join an organization founded on the slave patrol? They're going to give you some type of lame excuse. Oh, I want to help my community. When have you seen them help the community? I'll wait. They got a union, a strong union that lets them get away with all type of brutality. Ask your family members that are cops why. You want to be a teacher, a professor, an entrepreneur. You went and trained to be an extension of white supremacy and the white power structure. And nobody will call y'all on that. You know something is wrong with them to even want to be that. And you don't hear no black cops saying nothing now. They're not blogging. They're not talking. They going on business as usual because you know what? Them black cops, they don't really care. They in it for the same reasons. Ice Cube said it best. Black cops always showing out for the white cops. Look at their faces on this thumbnail. They may look like us, but most of these people that's our color are not of us. They are constructs of white supremacy and the power structure. Signing out of Detroit, keep your head on a swivel. Straight up.